So Judgment Day, it is neither the last war as Bill Cadigan suspected or time travel as I mentioned was a possibility. It's something completely different. It is a test, and only one person is gonna represent humanity in this test as per what Jordan mentioned on last week's episode, and that person is either gonna pass or fail, and his score, his GPA, that's what's gonna determine the future for everyone else. They're either gonna end up like the people of Bordeaux, or they're gonna end up surviving all of this. But okay, we think we've gotten all the answers because, hey, we now know this is a test. If we fail, we're gonna end up crystallized. If we don't fail, we're not gonna end up crystallized. But I think the thing that we need to think about is what really happens if we pass this test. And I've gotten a few options here. But before I venture into this and more, and of course the trailer for the upcoming episode of the season, let me start off by saying welcome back guys to another one of my The 100 videos and my breakdown of the trailer of the 11th episode of the 7th and final season, otherwise titled Etherea. Okay, so as you may have noticed, I'm not just talking the trailer, I'm gonna be talking some theories. I'm not gonna go in full depth, but I'm gonna theorize a little bit here about what happens if they pass this test, because we know what happens if they fail. I'm also going to theorize on who the best candidates are, to go through that test on behalf of the entirety of humanity, and why. But let us start off though by talking the trailer. Check it out first.
There is a way off this planet. I'm not afraid.
Okay, so the objective over here is not to really break down every aspect of the trailer. I mean, there's not really much to break down over here. For one thing, Bellamy is surviving on Etherea. It's that planet that's been mentioned before. Gotta talk about that in a moment. We do know as well that Levitt is gonna be the one to discover that Bellamy is alive. He's gonna find that out. He's possibly the one that's gonna open that portal, the anomaly on his side, for him to come over to the other side, probably to Bordeaux. But then the other thing that I'm thinking about over here is they gave us that Levitt bit on purpose on this trailer. So it is possibly a misdirect, like the anomaly is probably going to open up on Bellamy's side on Etherea, but not because of Levitt, not because of Bordeaux, possibly because of someone else. Maybe it's Gaia, maybe it's the rest of the team, Clarke and co, possibly in their escape. I mean, it's as simple as this. If they're making an escape and they don't have the suits for it, one for every single member of this team, they're not gonna make a run to Sanctum, because they go back to Sanctum, they lose all their memories, except of course for the ones with suits. So Raven is not gonna lose it, Octavia is not gonna lose it, Echo as well is not gonna lose it, however though, the rest might actually lose their memories. So yeah, I'm assuming they might be actually the ones that are jumping to Etherea in their escape, and that's where they're gonna be reunited with Bellamy. But then at that moment, they're also going to discover that all of this was for nothing, talking about the death of Dioza here, because in the end, it is all a chain reaction. Echo wanted vengeance because Bellamy is dead, but Bellamy isn't really dead. When she wanted vengeance, they tried to stop her. Hope ended up being in the same room, Anders ended up being in the same room. Hope decided to stupidly kill the guy, slit the throat of the guy who's got a bioweapon in his hand, and that led to her mother trying to save the day, getting one drop of that thing, and crystallizing, along with the corpse of Anders, in the entire room. So yeah, sooner or later, they're gonna realize that their anger was not really justified. I mean, it is justified because they don't know, but it wasn't really justified in the sense that Bellamy never actually died, and hence Dioza's death was in vain. But alright though, the mountain was very tall and very scary, but the shepherd was brave and wise. Those were the words of that little girl on episode 9, when Anders asked who can tell me something about Etherea in the presence of all four, Dioza, Hope, Octavia, and Echo. Now, I'd say this description was pretty fitting, the description of the mountain, not the description of the shepherd. Did the shepherd really succeed against that mountain? Well, there are so many options. We might never know. We might end up finding out, like this team, or Bellamy at least, might have discovered something about the journey of the great shepherd in Etherea. However though, if the mountain is tall and scary, and if Bellamy managed to succeed against that mountain, wouldn't that just make him into yet another shepherd? I mean, think about it. If these are the scriptures, if the shepherd is that kind of god who managed to succeed against that mountain, then I assume these scriptures would also state that no one succeeded against, but Bellamy did. That would mean he's a candidate for being the shepherd. That would mean that the shepherd is utter and absolute bullshit, and that might raise a lot of problems, that might raise a lot of issues, and this might be what Levitt is after. You know, proving the shepherd is really nothing. The shepherd is just a regular man. The shepherd is just a greedy man. I mean, to be fully honest, Levitt for me is a question mark. Is he with them? Is he against them? And by them, I mean either group. So with that, you can easily add another question to this. You know, is he playing both groups? Does he have his own agenda? Is he against both groups? The thing is, Levitt might have his own agenda, might have a certain stake in ruining it all for, you know, the second Dawn. Let's say he possibly had a trainer that he cared for, and he lost that trainer, a friend, whatever it is. He might actually have a stake in all of this. So yeah, the possibilities are endless. There are still mysteries, as I mentioned early on, that we haven't gotten answers to yet. That does make a lot of sense as well, because yeah, we've got 5 episodes before the series finale, and then the series finale itself, so a lot is yet to be answered. But let us though switch to the theories aspect of this video. So first and foremost, there is the question of where is Gaia? That's the first thing we want to theorize on. The entire situation with Gaia doesn't really make a lot of sense. I mean, she was abducted by a disciple, so the only option we could initially think of is she ended up on Bardo. But then there is that other option, you know, a disciple gone rogue, that's the person who abducted her. Now that would raise the question of why abduct Gaia. I mean, what would a disciple need with someone he does not know? She's not even on the target list, or even if she was on the list, she's not really a target, she's just an FYI. Okay, if you see this woman, she's got these capabilities, just try to avoid her or try to deal with her in your mission to get Clarke. But there is also the question of when are we going to see Gaia, and I think that's going to happen soon enough. Like if not at the end of episode 11, it is possibly going to be sometime in episode 12. I hope she's building an army somewhere. I hope she comes for Shedhedda. I hope that it is Gaia that's going to be able to deal with Shedhedda. The truth is, I don't want the trope where Clarke does everything, like defeats Cadigan in one end, comes back, defeats Shedhedda. Oh, she's Superwoman. I want other people to be involved in all of this, and I think Gaia is suited for it. But okay, theory number 2. Etherea. How's the time moving on Etherea? Should have added that with the trailer breakdown, but I just thought about it. I think Etherea is moving faster than Bardo. Look at this guy's beard, and look at how much time the others spent on Bardo. This is a beard that Bellamy probably grew in month and month, like maybe 6 months, 5 months, but definitely not the 3 months that all these people spent on Bardo. So yeah, time on Etherea does seem to move faster than on Bardo. But okay though, let's talk about the question that I posed at the beginning of this video. You know, what happens if the person who ends up going through that test passes that test? Now after that, I'm going to talk about the people most suited for this test and the people who have been set up from the beginning of the season to go through that test. I think Jordan is the answer. I'm going to explain why in a little bit, but nonetheless, what happens if you pass that test? Okay, there are multiple scenarios here, multiple options. One of the suggested options in one of the comments to my videos that this is all biblical, like this is Judgment Day. So yeah, this is kind of a heaven and hell situation. The hell over here would be about the crystallization of humanity, which in a way would be a criticism of the concept of heaven and hell, because you're judging everyone by the acts of one person, by the one person that goes through. So I would personally say it is a play on the concept rather than the actual concept, but it is possible. Some people suggested it, so I thought it was worthy of mentioning. Now that would mean that there's a heaven somewhere, we don't know what it looks like. Maybe it is on the planet where the people or the aliens who are gonna judge these people happen to dwell. Maybe I was wrong about that one planet that's not active, you know, the one mentioned by Raven a few episodes ago. Maybe that's the heaven, and that's why it's not active. They cannot access it unless they go through that white portal, get judged, and then they're gonna be able to go to that heaven. Once again, I think there are multiple possibilities over here. But I'm gonna move on instead to the other scenarios. So scenario number 2, nothing is going to happen. If they pass that test, they're gonna live on, they're gonna exist, that's their reward. Please continue with your trials and tribulations, you're safe to do that. But then there is scenario number 3. We're gonna make your life better. We're gonna change everything that went completely wrong with your lives. And yes, I'm going back to the time travel bit, except it's not really time travel. They're just gonna change something in the past. Not our group, but rather the aliens. They're gonna change the events of the first Judgment Day, the human Judgment Day, and that's basically going to change everything for everyone. One day, they're sending someone in to get judged or to get the entire race judged, and then the next day, hour or minute, whatever it is, everyone wakes up in their own beds on Earth in regular buildings and houses like the ones we live in. Everyone's got different memories, everyone is completely different. However though, because of the life they led over here leading to this Judgment Day, they still remember traces of one another. They still manage to find one another. Okay, I'm rambling on about one scenario that's basically a product of the third scenario, you know, the one where they find one another and whatnot. There's so many scenarios, so many possibilities. If they do something like that, let's talk the possibility that they wake up to something evil, like, you know, the Alley project did work. You know, having that chip aflame for every person, that kind of chip would probably be connected to a network, creating yet another dystopia of its own. Think about the memories of people being connected to that network. Think about Shedhedda being born, only in that world he's not really Shedhedda, but he is as evil. Think about him dying, think about him uploading his memories into this big network, and think about those memories ending up in someone else's chip and him taking the body, the very same body that Russel originally took and then Shedhedda took. Think about him taking it in that dystopian world as well, and think about that person being president. And at the very end of the finale, we get to realize that this person is actually the very same evil person that used to be Shedhedda, but now he's a different evil person. It's kind of same shit, different day. Think of the irony over there. But okay, I've got a vivid imagination over here, so I'm just gonna move on to the final bit on this video. Who's worthy, or who are the candidates to go through that white portal and get judged on behalf of humanity? So first and foremost, it is possible that someone like Octavia, someone like Bellamy, someone like Clarke, people who have been redeemed over so many seasons or over so many episodes, end up going through and end up being judged and end up passing the test. But we've got two people who are so pure, they would be perfect for the job. We've got Jordan and we've got Maddie. Now picking Maddie is the obvious choice. Maddie is the obvious candidate with all the drawings and whatnot. It is possible, however though, she is still the obvious choice, so all of this could be a misdirect. The one candidate though that's been in the middle of all of this and yet has been slightly foreshadowed at the beginning of the season in such a way that we would forget about all of it happens to be Jordan. And what Jordan did at the beginning of the season is have that conversation with Russel, you know, before he became Shedhedda, talking about that vision. That vision has not been addressed yet, so I think this is all about that vision. That vision is about that other world beyond the white portal. I think that Jordan is the one to go through. I think that Jordan is the one to be judged on behalf of humanity, and I think that Jordan is the one who's going to pass this test. But alright though, I'm really sorry about all that rambling in the middle about that one option and, you know, letting my imagination run. However though, I think we've come to the end of this video, so you can let me know in the comments down below what theories you have for the rest of the season. Who do you think is going to be the one to go through the test? Who do you think is the one that is supposed to go through the test? Because these could be two totally different things. Where do you think Gaia has been all this time? Where do you think that disciple took her? How long do you think Bellamy has been on Etherea in Etherea time, and do you think that Bellamy is going to be able to take that challenge, and in essence, is that going to cause problems for the Shepherd, for Belcadigan? But finally though, if crystallization is the hell, what do you think the heaven is? Let me know as well if you did like this video by dropping it one of those much appreciated likes, subscribing to this channel, and make sure while you're at it to enable notifications in order to get updates whenever I upload a new video, publish a new community post, or start a new live stream. But until the next time that you tune in for another one of my videos, the 100 or otherwise, thank you so much for tuning into this one, stay safe, and have a great day.